Whenever I meet a non-Muslim, the first thing I ask him upfront is, what do you feel is wrong with Islam? You'll enjoy in this world, you'll sleep peacefully, easy earning, but what about the Akhirah? Only logically, without life after death, the life in this world cannot be justified. The media says Islam is the problem for humanity. Actually, Islam is the solution for the problem of humanity. The other religions are more theoretical. Islam is a practical religion.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahi walhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Before we begin with the final speech of tonight's event, I would like to invite Dr. Zakir Naik from India. A brief background about Dr. Zakir Naik. Dr. Zakir is a medical doctor by professional training. Dr. Zakir Naik is renowned as a dynamic international orator on Islam and comparative religion. Dr. Zakir Naik is the president of the Islamic Research Foundation based in Mumbai. Dr. Zakir clarifies viewpoints and clears misconceptions about Islam using the Quran, authentic hadith and other religious scriptures as a basis in conjunction with reason, logic and scientific facts. He is popular for his critical analysis and convincing answers to challenging questions posed by audiences after his public talks. Throughout the last 13 years, Dr. Zakir Naik has delivered more than 1,300 public talks in the USA, Canada, the UK, Italy, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, Egypt, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Botswana, Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, Guyana, Trinidad and many other countries, in addition to numerous public talks in India. He has successfully participated in several symposia and dialogues with prominent personalities of other faiths. His public dialogue with Dr. William Campbell of the USA on the topic, The Quran and the Bible in the Light of Science, held in Chicago, USA in April 2000, was a resounding success. His interfaith dialogue with prominent Hindu guru Sri Sri Ravi Shankar on the topic, The Concept of God in Hinduism and Islam in the Light of the Sacred Scriptures, held at Palace Grounds in Bangalore on the 21st of January 2006, was highly appreciated by people of both faiths. In the issue dated 22nd of February 2009 on the Indian Express list of the 100 most powerful Indians in 2009, amongst the billion-plus population of India, Dr. Zakir Naik was ranked number 82. In the special list of the top 10 spiritual gurus of India, Dr. Zakir Naik was ranked number 3 after Baba Ramdev and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, being the only Muslim in the list. The Sunday Express, dated the 31st of January 2010, published the Indian Express list of the 100 most powerful Indians in 2010, and amongst the billion-plus population of India, with 36 names from the 2009 list deleted, wherein Dr. Zakir Naik was ranked number 89. From amongst the 8 Muslims in this list of 100, Dr. Zakir Naik was the only Muslim Islamic preacher and orator. The others being a political secretary, a politician, a government official, a business magnate, and 3 film personalities. Amongst the spiritual and religious gurus, though he was the only Muslim and number 3 in 2009 list, this year, 2010, Dr. Zakir Naik topped the list of spiritual and religious gurus for his preaching of Islam, followed by Jagi Vasudev at number 94, Baba Ramdev at 99, and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar at number 100 respectively. Dr. Zakir Naik was recently also selected and listed in the 500 most influential Muslims in the world without any specific ranking, published by the George Washington University in the USA. Our dear Sheikh Ahmed Deedat rahimahullah, the world-famous orator on Islam and comparative religion, called Dr. Zakir Naik Deedat Plus in the year 1994. He presented a plaque in May 2000 with the engraving, awarded to Dr. Zakir Abdul Karim Naik for his achievement in the field of da'wah and the study of comparative religion. Son, what you have done in 4 years has taken me 40 years to accomplish. Alhamdulillah. Dr. Zakir Naik appears regularly on many international TV channels in more than 200 countries throughout the world. He is regularly invited for TV and radio interviews. More than 100 of his talks, dialogues, debates and symposia are available on DVDs and VCDs. He has also been the author of many books on Islam and comparative religion. So we are indeed blessed to have the opportunity to have with us Dr. Zakir Naik, who will be not addressing any specific subject, but rather we have a special program entitled Ask Dr. Zakir Naik, where you, the audience, have the whole time to be able to question this great speaker on Islamic topics. So I would like to invite to share the stage our dear brother, Dr. Zakir Abdul Karim Naik from India.
Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam. Ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Udu ila sabili rabbika bil hikma wal mau'izatil hasana wajadil billati ahsan. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. My respected elders and my dear brothers and sisters, I welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace, mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on all of you. Alhamdulillah, it's a great pleasure and honor for me to address the people of Dubai once again in a short span of only 7 months. And I'd given 2 talks. The first talk I gave was on dawah and destruction. And the second talk was on the topic of misconceptions about Islam. And I gave a speech of approximately 1.5 hours, which was followed by question and answer session for about 4 hours. It was one of my longest programs in any part of the world. But due to the length of the program, I had to cut short my speech of misconceptions about Islam, where I said that there are 20 most common questions. And I was only able to give the reply to 13 most common misconceptions. Alhamdulillah, it's a pleasure and honor for me to be invited for the Dubai International Peace Convention and to speak in the final concluding session. So I've decided that before having the open question and answer session, I'll just complete the replies to the 7 pending questions amongst the most common questions. And as I'd mentioned earlier in my speech, that dawah is a duty of every Muslim. It's compulsory for every Muslim to convey the message of Islam to those who are not aware of it. There are various different styles as well as strategies in conveying the message of Islam. Some of them are less effective, while the others are more effective. The most common methodology used by the Muslims when they speak with non-Muslims is that they say 100 good things about Islam. Even if that non-Muslim agrees with these 100 good points we have mentioned about Islam, yet at the back of his mind, he will start thinking, oh, you are the same Muslim who is a fundamentalist. Ah, you are the same Muslims who are terrorists. Ah, you are the people who have more than one wife. Ah, you are the people who have spread your religion with the sword. These few negative points at the back of their mind will prevent them from accepting the beauty of Islam. So whenever I meet a non-Muslim, the first thing I ask him upfront is, what do you feel is wrong with Islam? With your limited knowledge, whether right or wrong, what do you feel is wrong with Islam? And I make him comfortable that he can ask any question on Islam, he can feel free, he can criticize Islam, he can attack the Quran if he wants. I make him comfortable and ask him, what does he feel is wrong with Islam? And after he's made comfortable, that non-Muslim, he poses about 3 or 4 questions. And in the experience that I have for the past couple of decades, I have come to know that the non-Muslims, they have about 20 common questions about Islam. So when he poses 3 or 4 questions, invariably it falls amongst these 20 most common questions. These common questions, how do they come in the mind of the non-Muslim? Depending how the media portrays Islam, these questions, they arise in the mind of the non-Muslim. And today we know in the international media, whether it be the newspapers, the international magazines, the radio broadcast stations, the satellite television channels, we find there is virulent propaganda about Islam. We find that the media is spreading misconceptions about Islam. And depending on how they portray Islam, these 20 common questions arise in the minds of the non-Muslim. The 20 questions we have today, a couple of decades earlier, they were different. Maybe a couple of decades later, they will change. If every Muslim knows the replies with reason, logic, and science, quoting the scriptures of Islam and the other religions, and are able to know the replies to all these common questions, even if he cannot convert or change the non-Muslim's faith, at least he can neutralize the animosity which is there in the minds of the non-Muslim. And as I mentioned earlier, I've written a book, The Replies to the Common Questions Asked by Non-Muslims. And it's available on the internet too, on www.irf.net. And 7 months back, when I was in Dubai, I was only able to cover the replies of the first 13 most common questions or misconceptions that are posed by the non-Muslims regarding Islam. For those who are not here, I'll just mention the questions without giving the reply, and I'll give the reply only to the last 7, inshallah. Today, the most common misconceptions regarding Islam in the minds of the non-Muslim is regarding the word jihad. The number 2 misconception is that the non-Muslims think that the Muslims, they are fundamentalist. The 3rd misconception is that Muslims are terrorists. The 4th misconception is that Islam is a religion which was spread by the sword. The 5th most common question is that why does Islam allow a man to marry more than one woman? Why is polygamy or polygyny allowed in Islam? The 6th most common question is
that if Islam allows a man to have more than one wife, then why does